I'm Jesse. I have been building in the Coinbase orbit for 7 years now. I spent 5 years leading all of our consumer teams, building Coinbase, Coinbase Pro, Coinbase Wallet on the engineering side. And then I spent the last 2 years building Base. And Base is an Ethereum layer 2. But really what we think about is that we're building a global economy, one that increases innovation, creativity, and freedom. And we've been doing that now for 6 months. And feels a lot longer than 6 months. It feels like we've been doing it for decades, but I think we've made a lot of impact on bringing people on chain. And I think when we're successful over the next few years, we're going to get millions of builders, billions of users on chain.
Good. So recently, maybe a couple of days ago, you announced the Base Smart Wallet. Can you just give us a kind of like preview of what that's going to be and how you built it and what's powering it?
Yeah, absolutely. And one clarification is it's not the Base Smart Wallet, it's actually the Coinbase Smart Wallet. Base works with a ton of different teams that are building smart wallets because that's because one of our strategic kind of focuses for 2024 is to make smart wallets the default. When we look at kind of what's required to bring billions of users on chain, I think we've basically decided it's not possible with our existing wallet infrastructure. And the only way we can get there is if we have really easy to use, really trustworthy, smart wallets that actually give users the confidence that they need to have in order to store their assets on chain. And so over the last 5 months, we've supported Coinbase in building a smart wallet that I think is a pretty transformational product for a few reasons. One is it's the first smart wallet that you can get without having to get an app or an extension. It's totally in the browser. It uses a passkey. You can go from never having a wallet to being signed into an app with a smart wallet in less than 10 seconds. And that's a really, really powerful onboarding experience. The second thing is that you can take that wallet and actually do a ton of things with it to give you confidence. So you can have additional signers, you can have recovery flows, you can have two-factor authentication, you can have spending limits. And that makes it so, the same confidence that you might have that your bank would protect your assets if you have them, you're gonna have with this smart wallet. And then the third thing that I think is really exciting is that you can actually just spend your Coinbase balance in the smart wallet. So if you have all of your assets sitting on Coinbase.com and you want to buy an NFT or make a trade on Matcha or do anything else, you can connect your Coinbase account and then spend out of there. It all gets batched into one transaction using the smart wallet, gets executed, your funds get debited on Coinbase.com and spent on chain. And we really see that as key to bringing in the hundreds of, 100+ billion assets that are on the Coinbase platform, tens of millions of users, and putting them from this off-chain centralized custodial world into the on-chain global economy that we're building on Base.
Gotcha. So it's more about the onboarding experience. It's about making things as easy as possible and kind of transforming Web3 into something that the everyday user can.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's about onboarding and making it so someone can go from never having interacted with crypto to doing a meaningful thing on chain in less than 60 seconds. And then it's about making it so people can actually live their life on chain and not be afraid. Because I too often, and this actually just happened with me and a couple friends, I onboarded my friends to crypto. They put what was a meaningful amount of money for them into their wallet, and I had to sit them down and give them the talk, which was like, if you mess this up, your money will be gone and there will be nothing you can do about it. And that is not a sustainable way for us to onboard people. And so what this can do is it makes it really fast to onboard, but then it also lets us have the tools, the infrastructure, the security to give users that confidence for them to actually store their assets and to live their life on chain.
So beyond this kind of custody aspect of it, what other kind of barriers do you see within crypto that could be maybe eroded a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, we've been saying pretty consistently that there's 3 big challenges that are holding back consumer adoption. One is the wallet problem. We just talked about that. The second is lowering fees. This is what we've been working on with Base for the last year and a half. It's way too expensive. It has been way too expensive. We lowered it about 100x with Base. With 4844, which we've been working on for 2 years, and Base will be day one ready on, coming on March 14th, we're gonna get another really, really meaningful reduction. And then over the next few years, we're gonna be able to keep reducing fees by increasing blob space availability on Ethereum. So that's the second big one. And then I'd say the third big one, which I think we're gonna talk about in a second, is we really need better identity on chain. We need to actually know who people are so that we can build experiences that are customized to them and interact with them as real human beings. And Coinbase has been building products here. For instance, Coinbase Verifications, which lets you know who are verified users, what region they're in, totally opt-in, all powered by Ethereum attestation service on Base. But I think we've also started to see the rise of things like Farcaster, where you actually have a social graph that's an on-chain identity that ends up being really, really useful for building these customized experiences that let folks actually have a full kind of consumer experience on-chain.
Yeah, okay. And Will was just talking about 15 minutes ago about maybe fragmentation of chains, and that kind of Base has come in as another chain next to Optimism, next to Arbitrum, and the rest. So how do you see kind of this convergence of chains? And maybe Will, you have something to say about that as well. But where does Base sit within that ecosystem of EVM chains?
Yeah, absolutely. I can start and then I'll hand it to Will. I think when we built Base, one of our guiding principles was that we wanted to be a bridge, not an island. So we didn't want to take users and their assets and put them somewhere where they'd be siloed from the rest of the ecosystem. That's why we built on Ethereum, and I think that the whole movement of Ethereum Layer 2 is a huge win for a lack of fragmentation. All of us building on Ethereum means that we're all using the same native asset. It means that liquidity is building around a lot of the assets that are shared. I think that that's already a big win. And then building based on the OP stack with Optimism as part of the super chain was the second big commitment, where we said, hey, we're not going to go build our own technology. Instead, we're going to build an open source public goods platform that can actually get that interoperability over the next couple years that enables all these things to increasingly not be many chains that users have to worry about, but instead be one seamless on-chain platform where users can just live their lives and developers can just build their apps and everything works. Anything else to add there?
Yeah. So one of the things that really excited me about Base when I heard about it is I know that Coinbase's mission of creating an open financial system for the world and democratizing access to crypto, to financial services, I know this is something that was going to be baked into the DNA of Base. And the way that the Base team has approached onboarding new users and trying to make this technology more accessible to a wider audience. Personally, I have a feeling that Base could end up being an on-ramp for the world to a multi-chain ecosystem, but with Base being the front door. And so that's one of the things I'm really excited about, is that it feels like you're introducing this entire technology, this entire ecosystem to new people, and not necessarily just trying to build something proprietary or locked down.
100%. 100%. And this goes back to the value, which was a bridge, not an island. Like, we want to get billions of people so they have their first transaction on Base. Like, that's our goal. That's a huge win. We'd get all these people on chain, but then we don't want them to stay there. We want them to go everywhere, because the on-chain ecosystem is going to be incredibly diverse. It's going to be decentralized. You're going to have people building all sorts of things. And I think the most important thing we can do is support that growth, because it really is a rising tide that lifts all boats. And Base can be an entry point that brings people on-chain and lets them experience the best of everything.
Super. A minute ago, you were talking about identity being one of those key points, and Farcaster. And I just wanted to know a little bit about your incredible ramp up on the Farcaster spectrum, and you're suddenly everywhere on Farcaster. Was that kind of like just an opportunity that presented itself, and you've just scrambled together? What is your kind of position on Farcaster right now? What do you think of Farcaster? What's the potential for it? Give us a
Yeah, I love it. Well, first off, I love Farcaster. I think it's an incredible product, and I think on-chain social is going to have billions of users as everyone comes on-chain. And I've been a Farcaster user for a long time. I joined Farcaster, I think 2 years ago. I'm FID number 99. And so I've been casting on Farcaster when there was essentially no one there. And it was just a few of us who really loved on-chain technology and wanted to be a part of building the future. And so I think that that's been kind of a long journey of just watching it evolve. I do think that in the last 8 weeks, there really was an inflection point, and that was the day that Frames launched, Frame Friday. And I was actually just at a conference that day. We didn't have any heads up. No one told us that Frames were launching, but I was on my phone. I saw them publish the first frame and the frame spec, and I looked at that and I was like, this is it. We actually finally have a social graph that's on chain, and then composable mini apps that we can build in that feed. And this is what's going to lead to billions of users coming on chain. And so I pulled out my phone. I messaged my team. I said, we need to get going right now. We need to launch a grants program by the end of the day. We need to get our first developer tooling out for frames by the end of the day. We need to figure out how can we be kind of omnipresent in terms of supporting builders building frames. And so in those last 6 weeks since we did that, we've sponsored tens of hackathons all around the world where we sent pizza to people who are building frames. We've built best-in-class developer tooling and on-chain kit to build frames. We've done tens of grants to people who've built the coolest frames. We've promoted all of those frames through all of our channels. We've basically done everything we possibly could to make it so if someone wanted to build a frame, they would build it on Base. And I think the impact of that has been pretty incredible. If you look at the total market share of where Farcaster users transact, so you can look at all the users, you can look at all their addresses, you can look at all of the transactions they do. Before Frames launched, Base was about 15%. Today, Base is about 60%. And so I think that that's a real testament to the fact that we've been successful in enabling builders to build frames because they're building frames on Base and then users are interacting with those frames and they're transacting more and all of that's happening on Base. And so it really has been this moment for us where I think we saw an opportunity. We kind of saw the future, we jumped on it, and we took what has been the core ethos for Base from the beginning, which is we love and support builders, and we turned it into a massive strength and a massive go-to-market for making Base be at the center of this on-chain economy that we're building.
So in the past, I've heard you describe Base as kind of a startup within Coinbase as a company. So does that give you the agility to do these kind of things? And how much are you kind of making up as you go along?
Yeah, and before I answer that question, I just want to give a shout out to Linda G, who is close friends with Will, who built Bountycaster, which is a product on Farcaster that lets you do kind of really easy bounties or grants. And that was actually one of the reasons we were able to get a grants program out so fast, because we just used Bountycaster. I told my team, I would like write the bounty and cast it, and we got out our grant in like 4 hours. And so I just think that sort of composability, where you can actually build new products on top of this social graph, is incredibly powerful. And it's been so cool to see Linda building that, because me and Linda have known each other for 7 years at this point. She was at Coinbase when I joined. We got to collaborate really closely there. We stayed in touch. And it's been really cool to get to build together on this. Going back to kind of how Base operates inside of Coinbase, it really is a startup within Coinbase. I have a team, we're a really small team. People are generally shocked about how small the team is. And we run like a startup. So for instance, with Frames, we saw that happen on Friday and we pivoted the whole team. We said, we're going to focus on frames for the next month. And we worked that weekend, we worked the next weekend. We did everything we possibly could to just be at the center of the conversation around frames. And I think that kind of ethos of like, yes, we are supported and incubated by a larger company, but we're going to hire a small number of the absolute best people and give them the autonomy to just ship, has been integral in making Base what it is. And I think one of the things that's been really cool has been seeing how the kind of ripple effect of Base has permeated to Coinbase. And so a recent example of this is actually the smart contract wallet. The Coinbase team that built that, and we actually embedded some Base folks in that team to enable them, they went from not having written a line of code to shipping this product in 3 months. And this is a category defining product. And they went from having no code to having it live on testnet for ETH Denver in 3 months. And I actually remember the conversation with Wilson Cusack where we were talking in the fall and he said, Jesse, I want to launch a smart contract wallet. It's going to change the game. It's going to be the next 10x after Base. And I said, man, I don't know if we can do it. And he said, Jesse, I just want you to repeat this mantra every day. Look in the mirror. We're going to ship by ETH Denver. And they shipped by ETH Denver. And I think that mentality, trying to figure out how to preserve it, trying to figure out how to amplify it inside of a large organization like Coinbase, that is, probably the most impactful single thing we can do as a Base team to bring Coinbase on chain and make it so that they can then help bring the rest of the world on chain.
Innovator's dilemma be damned.
Innovator's dilemma be damned. I mean, yeah, like, and it's not like it's been easy. Look, I started working on what became Base in late 2021, and we went through 4 different ideas for how we bring Coinbase on chain. None of them worked. They shut down my team. They were like, Jesse, this is enough. Go find something else to do, contribute to an existing product. And then me and a couple people were like, what if we gave it one more shot? And that one more shot was Base. And it's been a relentless march, just trying to believe in this on-chain future and do everything we can to pull Coinbase into it. And I think one of the things that I'm most excited about is I think about Coinbase and Base right now kind of as an iceberg, with Base being the top of the iceberg. But Coinbase right now still, we've come a long way. A year ago, no one was doing anything on chain. Today, though, it's still a very small percentage of the company doing things on chain. But every day, there are more converts. More teams see, oh, if we build on chain, we can actually move 10 times faster and we can reach 10 times more customers. And that is a cultural shift that's happening team by team, individual by individual, leader by leader. And what that means is over the next year, we're going to go from 10% of Coinbase focusing on chain to 100% of Coinbase focusing on chain. And this iceberg is going to rise out of the ocean, and everyone's going to be like, where did that even come from? And it's just going to have been transforming this incredible business to be an on-chain business first and foremost.
So this has been your first ETHDenver with the frames behind you, with all of this hype behind Base as well. Or since Base was launched. So how has it been for you? And are there any projects that really hyped you up about ETHDenver this year? And anything else that you'd like to add just as we wrap up? Because I know you have limited time.
Yeah. We were here last year, and last year we'd launched the testnet, 4 days before ETHDenver, similar timing. This year we launched the smart wallet right before ETHDenver. And I feel like last year we were really having to convince people that we were serious. They were still looking at Coinbase and Base and being like, we don't know if you have it. Yeah, you have this L2 thing, but it's cool. You did the blue dot thing, but are you really gonna do it? This year, I think it's a pretty different environment. I actually feel like the metrics haven't quite caught up there, but from a mindshare perspective, Base is the market leader right now. And when you're talking especially to people who are building consumer products, all of them are building on Base. And so it's hard for me to pick a single one, but I will say that the level of creativity and innovation that is happening on Base right now is unparalleled. It's unlike anything I've ever seen in my life. And I think when we look back on this moment in time, we will see it kind of as the beginning of the world coming on chain. This is a little bit of alpha leak. I really think about this as the kickoff for what will be a 4 months of building, which will lead up to On-Chain Summer 2, which is coming in this summer, where we'll be doing something that's probably going to be 10 to 100 times the scale of last summer. It's going to be more decentralized. There's going to be more people contributing. We're going to be reaching hundreds X more people all around the world. And we're going to be giving, again, our best shot to bring the world on chain. And we're going to make a huge impact this summer. And then we're going to learn from it. And then we're going to build again. And then next summer, we'll be back again. So we're just going to keep doing this until the entire world is on chain. And I couldn't be more grateful to have all of these incredible builders, including Matcha, who I was talking about has become kind of my default trading interface on chain, building on Base, because that's what it's all about. That's why I've been here on the show floor for the last 4 days, standing in the Base area, just talking to people about how they're building on Base, what they're building on Base, and how we can help them.
Amazing. Yeah, it's been really exciting to, it was on-chain summer was my first summer at Matcha, and it was really exciting to see this huge drive from both the 0x side and from the Base side, just to capture the mind share, like you say. So thanks a lot for joining us. Is there anything you'd like to add that you'd like to ask maybe Will?
No, I want to express just how impressed I am. I think you're right. Maybe a year ago, people heard about Base. They weren't really sure if Coinbase, which is such a influential and serious company, can do something so innovative. And launching an L2, this idea is something I think a lot of people had a hard time believing that there was a hard commitment there. And I think you have proven to everyone that this is something you are heavily leaning into, and that you see this as kind of a critical piece of the roadmap almost, and the future of crypto. So personally, I'm super confident in what your plans are for growing adoption of Base, and I'm just grateful that we'll be able to be a part of it from the beginning.
I love it. Well, we're grateful to be building with you guys and excited for what 2024 holds.
Awesome. So thank you very much, Jesse.
Love it.
Till next time.